Welcome, everyone. Today we have Josh, the disciple. He created NoGen. He created a bunch of NFTs on Elrond that people really enjoy. I enjoy myself. My name is DGen Derek. I have created GM NFT Podcast, and today we are going to hear a little bit about NoGen and kind of what we have to look forward to and kind of what because we have big news that's happened here in the last week. So let's kind of hear a little bit about what Josh has to say here.
Thank you, Derek, for having me on. I felt like we had a good first call a couple months ago, and it's been a while since I've been back on your show. And a lot has happened, right? Especially in NFTs, things move hyper quickly. And so a lot has happened. And then for sure, we've had some big news this week. And then I'm not ignorant to things that the community really values and feels, such as the floor price dropping. And so all these topics, they're on the table. Ask away any questions you'd like to, easy or difficult. Ask the questions, and I hope I have all the good answers for them.
All right. So I think the first question is on NoGen Con. Everyone wanted NoGen Con to happen this year, and it didn't happen. And I think there were people that already planned flights and stuff. So what do you have to what do you have to say to them personally, and kind of give them kind of an update on what we can do to kind of fill the hole of NoGen Con?
For sure, for sure. First of all, of course, a heartfelt apology for everyone who was looking forward to it. I think first of all, and then secondly, is the people that spent money to buy your flight tickets. Hopefully, either you can move that flight date and ticket to another flight to another vacation, but we are already in discussions of still hosting an event. A lot of the things that we paid deposits for while planning are non-refundable. So we still have some of the venues, some of the services. So we're still going to have to utilize some of those things. So it's not going to be NoGenCon 2022 as we knew it, but hopefully we can still do something special.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people were looking forward to that, but so another couple things. So we have 3D no-gons coming in. Yeah, do you have a certain time frame on that? And like, yeah, when should people be expecting that? Yeah.
So I think there were so many free things being given to the Nojin community that some of these things get overlapped with each other. It wasn't Nogon's 3D. So what it was that we're creating an entirely different PFP collection. It's all going to be in 3D. So they won't necessarily be Nogons per se, but anyone who's holding a Nogon will get one of these 3D PFP NFTs airdrop for free. So it's a pretty, we're always trying to create a certain type of gravity underneath all the products to ensure that demand is coming from somewhere, or that there's going to be great utility for them to fall into elsewhere. And one of the ways is that we've been successful is that most of our products are not just one layer of NFTs. They're coming attached with not even just a second layer. It's like 4 or 5, 6 layers of benefits and promos being airdropped and utilized with your first purchase, I would say. So
Okay,
there are other things to drive the demand.
so you're saying that there's not going to be 3D no-gons, is what you're saying?
There is,
Well,
but it's not going to be free. That's going to cost so much money to build customizable Nogons for everybody. If we wanted it to be less polygons, so that in 3D terms, that's just less graphics. If you wanted them to be a little bit more dumbed down, it probably wouldn't take very much time, money, and energy to put that out. But ideally, we'd like to go for something not like voxel, maybe not super Marvel CGI, because it still has to be functional and still be able to deliver like a playable frame rate. So we'll try to find a happy medium there.
Okay, so and I just had a question. So what is your, since this all started, what is your vision of the NoGen verse now? I
Hmm.
mean, the liquidity isn't exactly there to build like a multi-billion dollar, so I'm just, kind of like sitting here wondering, what is the NoGen verse gonna look like? Is it gonna be more 2D? I mean, that would be, maybe like a, I'm not sure. Um,
It's fair. It's fair. I think a lot of people, that's a big question mark, right? Nogen in a lot of Elrond communities' minds represents a big question mark. Like, what exactly are they capable of delivering? Some things they just knock it out of the park, and some things that are really simple, they seem to be fumbling the simplest of things. And I think that really confuses people. And so, of course, when we come to a conversation like games or the metaverse, I think that's where people really have any kind of doubt. If we were trying to stay as just NFTs, offer some sweet liquidity, I think our bar that we set out for ourselves would be a lot lower, and therefore the expectations and criticisms would probably be blunted as well. But it's because we're going out here. We're saying we're going to build a metaverse and we're going to build the best trading card game there ever was. And these are, let's be fair and let's be honest, these are Do Kwon level type of blurbs, right? They're blurbs that suggest a supreme level of confidence that is certainly now teeter-tottering into arrogance. And arrogance is always dangerous when you're starting a new company, and it's certainly in a up and coming industry. So I understand there are concerns, but hey, I think to level with everybody, we we are an NFT project, and I think somewhere deep down in everybody's intellect, they are aware that we're a project, right? And so we have roadmap items, we have aspirations, and we do drop the ball sometimes. And the question for the holders is, when it's all said and done, you have to look at the field. I think is somewhat important. I mean, I don't want to say that that's going to erase all of our brand's mistakes, but you have to look at the field and ask yourselves, okay, they are dropping the ball here and there, but when you compare the things that they have done, the things that they have brought to market, and the impact that they have had, how do we rank with everybody so far? And then what is likely to be the case in the future? And that was a long answer, Derek, but to talk about the metaverse, a lot of these things rely on plan, and that's why it's frustrating for our community, because I already had a plan before we sold our first Emitis, right? I had a 5-year and a 10-year plan for NoGen, and certain parts of that plan rely on the parts before it going well or being completed. And so we are very much on this plan, but certain parts of it are going to be a little bit painful until we overcome the hurdle found in those phases.
yeah. So, yeah, I look at everything as, it's got to start somewhere and then build off of something, and then, another building block, and then another building block. And so, with all the NFTs and the different partnerships that you have, it is hard to navigate, and it is, I mean, anyone who's invested in NoGen have diluted themselves, in the NFTs because we love them. It's true. I know that for a fact. And I, indulged a lot, and I know a lot of other people have also. And I know I have some of the best Nogons. And I love them, and I won't get rid of my top ones ever. And I think that with everything that you said. It's kind of like an eye opener, I think, for everyone who watches this video in the future, and we'll see that you will build from here, and I know that you guys will build step by step, and will get a groove in Elrond and in the ecosystem of NFTs, because it is large, it is vast, and I know your team will become more involved, and that was another question. Was what more will your team do to build and get and to bring people onto Elrond, and to be more engaging, I guess. On Twitter is one place I don't see a lot of engagement, so that's just a question I had. So.
Yeah, I think. I'm so sorry, Derek. Let me silence my phone. I think every mod, every team does things a little bit differently. Our mod team has decided to go. I don't know. We may be made fun of it, but kind of the more of the Bored Ape route of marketing, which is kind of be more mysterious in public comms. Of course, keep everybody updated of what's going on, what we're doing, but not be totally in your face all the time with all of our mod team. And I think that's sort of the approach that they've taken. They also take more seriously assisting people and being there for people in the chat, and really just tending to the garden of our community. I mean, from where I stand, I think they're doing fantastic as moderators. Shout out to Louis, who was a great moderator for a long time for us. But look, from building NoGen's product line, it takes gaming developers, it takes full stack developers, it takes Rust smart contract developers, it takes infrastructure management crews such as the observer nodes and the APIs. We have all that, and we're doing that on a contracted basis because the people that are good at what they do, they don't need to find a full-time job. And so most of the time in Web3, it's very challenging to find somebody full-time right away. And I would say that financially, we're not even in the place where we can really be passing out long-term financial deals to core teams. So we're building really lean. We have websites in development. We have multiple smart contracts in development. We have multiple artists working full-time, but we're in a bear market and times are lean. And I am doing everything super legal. So we do owe 40% on the primary sale. And so for me, as a steward of all those funds, I have to be very careful about where I take each and every step. I'd like to take a moment to pat ourselves on the back over here. We asked for 0.4 e-gold in the primary sale for NoGons. And so by selling out 10,000, the community has trusted us with 4,000 e-gold. And we have all of that still. Like, we've been living off of staking and royalties. And so we are trying to be super responsible with the funds that we have, even just pushing off what is not absolutely necessary to keep the mission alive. And we're healthy, but it's because we've been very careful up until this point.
All right. And another thing, someone commented and said that 3D NoGons were, they say that you said they were going to be free. So is that just a change that you're making, or is that?
Yeah,
because I think a lot of people are under that impression. I think myself included. So I mean,
yeah, it's tough.
We own that. So like, if you know what I mean, we already own the first one. If that's all 10,000 are going to be. So what are we paying for our own property then in a 3D form? So that, I mean, I guess that's just the question the person had. I guess I have the same question. I mean, if I'm paying for my own dragon in a different form, I mean, it kind of doesn't make sense to me because I already own the brand in that fashion, I guess. So that's just a question. So,
well, I think when we put up NoGons for sale, We had a Medium article, we had a Twitter article where we were pretty clear about what people were getting, what we hope to build with our roadmap, and then anything else that was extra. That was it was a clear disclaimer put out there that these are extras. We're going to try to deliver them, but we don't know what happens. And also, if you are a malicious actor in the space, that we can take away the gift and things like that if we wanted to. So the 3D Nogons, people every time they say, just wait until we get our free 3D Nogons, myself or somebody from the team usually goes out there on Twitter or Discord and we tell everybody, again, it's not the Nogons that are 3D, it's this other 3D PFP that will be in full 3D that will be given to you for free, but it's not the Nogon itself.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sounds good. All right.
But Derek, the 3D free that's going to be given, I sometimes wonder what people think something like that is going to be. It's going to be really good. I don't know why people are sleeping.
Well, I guess that's usually, when you get into something and you get airdrops. So that would just be something that would be airdropped, like, most other projects that I'm in. If they, I'm just saying that's what, most people are looking at. So.
No, for sure. I get your point for sure. And people are used to airdrops being sort of like the part of the collection that people don't want. But I don't really believe in that. I think the Midas 3D was a great example of that. It was free. I could have charged a lot for that, I would say, but it was a gift. And just because it was free, I didn't put less effort into it or any less passion. Hermes too.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. All right. And so where do you see NoGen being in the next year? This time next year, where do you see it being, and what do you see going on? As much as you can pretty much answer.
I mean, this is tough. I'll give you a straightforward answer and then kind of a long about answer. The straightforward answer is I see us doing very well. I see us continuing to be one of the leaders of the Elrond ecosystem. And unless Elrond does terrible, I don't see us really moving too much from where we are right now. A lot of what we can do as boats, it depends on the tide level of the water that we're in. So the ecosystem does have to grow a lot, and there's a lot of room to grow. There's a lot of logic that says we should already be much bigger than we are now. So all indicators as far as like the body of water that we're in are hyper bullish. And then as far as the longer answer for NoGen is like, I can sit here and do the Do Kwon thing, but I think I want to dial back a little bit and deliver one step at a time, because I feel like, especially after NoGen Con, that's kind of the next phase that we're in. There were a lot of excuses in quarter 1. We were helping a lot of people, both public and private. We were dealing with legal issues, trying to get that cleared, and planning NoGen Con and all these things on top of that. So we had a lot of excuses, and we looked like crap, to be honest, Derek. I'm not going to lie to you. As a front-facing user, I'd be like, NoGen's performance in the last 60 days is really not good. It's really not good, and we're hyper aware of that. So I think the next phase is to just do what we said we're going to do, and once people like come back, or once we become the brand that allows people to come back to their senses and says, okay, NoGen can do what they set out to do. All of the things that they've communicated to us were valid, and we trust that they have an honest, talented head on their shoulders. So we've got to prove it.
All right. So I guess there are a few more questions that I have.
Of course.
What is like the next step in what you guys are trying to accomplish? What is the next step? What is like the main focus for the next 3 months? I think that's another question that was on my mind, I guess, because the next 3 months are leading up to what would have been NoGen Con. So I mean, what is going to drive this market? Because NFTs don't have to act like the rest of the market, but there's different things that teams can do to drive an NFT, or the demand factor for it. So that's kind of the question. So.
I think if you don't mind, Derek, I'd like to have a conversation about this one point. It's like you say teams need to drive the demand, and I think there are many ways to do that. And it's up to the teams, every team, kind of what road they wish to get to Rome. And by all means, I definitely want to drive demand to NoGen, Derek. I really do. But there's a master plan that if everything is done in the right order, and then the marketing and the mass adoption happen in this specific window, then anyone who had been a believer in the NoGen ecosystem, the people who have diligently been mining their GNG tokens, holding on to their stuff, and then all of this, and by this I mean that moment where we aren't just talk, right? There is going to come a moment where the products are out, they're working, the mining is going to be live, right? It's just like all the other things that people fudded about. What is this Midas 3D going to be? I bet it's not even going to be that great. It's not when we, it's people are going to get it, and it's really going to just be a disappointment. That was just for one NFT. I think for every step along the journey that people have kind of parked their car and fudded, we've come through and delivered. And I think once we sort of turn the corner here, what we have coming up next will prove that. I'm working with a really accomplished gaming developer right now. We're just about to sign the contract. So we've been working on this for 3 months as well, Derek. We've been interviewing CTOs. We've been looking for gaming developers. Like, we're not just going to go and find the first gaming developer that says, hey, I think we can make your game. So we were searching. We're right there about to sign with this talented guy. He was a CTO for a previous company that got bought out by Disney. So Disney bought out this entire gaming company that this gentleman created on the tech side. So we've got a very accomplished MMORPG, full 3D gaming developer who's built several games from scratch. So he will be focusing on the trading card game for the next 3 to 5 months. So ideally, when the artwork is done, this card game is going to be playable. It's not going to be a 30-second demo on Unreal Engine on my browser that I could have created in 2 hours. It's not going to be that. You will log in and you can play the game before the end of the year on a demo version. So believe me, we're seeing the morale go down. We're seeing the floor price go down. We can do a lot of things to jump it back up. We can, but there's simply no need to. Right? When we just do what we say we're going to do, people are going to be like, all right. We kind of fudded, but all right, they're delivering. They are who they say they are. So all's well that ends well. So I really see that happening by the end of the year.
Great. I'm glad that you could just give us a little smidgen of what you want to see happen, and just even give the voice of that, that light. To the people, because they want it. And, we have quite a few people listening, and there's a question someone has, but, they want to hear it from you, they want to, and that's what I wanted. That's what I want to do with this podcast, is give people that, that kind of offshoot them a little bit, because it's like, hey, I'll give you a few questions you might not be, ready for. And that's my job, I feel like. But you're showing everyone that, you are serious. by getting on doing this. I know you're on other podcasts and stuff like that every once in a while. So, it's just really good to see you on and doing this because it gives that hope to the people. And so someone just asked GNG status mining utility. That yeah, the question. So.
Yeah, again, I need to first start by empathizing with the community. Like, I understand that everyone wanted to be mining the GNG already, but I mean, hindsight is 2020, but look at it. There is no utility for the GNG right now. We are working hard. So what would happen if you guys have been mining the GNG? It's not on exchanges. The utility goes live. The utility is sky high. Like, I know it sounds really cheesy, but I'm actually doing it for the holders. I'm that's the way our brand is going to balloon. That's the reason why Bored Ape has ballooned. What Bored Ape as a crew, right? The team, what they really specialized in doing was they made their believers rich, right? That's what they were good at.
They
To put
did,
it
yeah.
really simply. So I know that. I really understand that is the objective of all founders, and I'm taking that.
But
I don't know.
sorry, I gotta say one thing. But
Mhm.
first, they built the community, and you have built the community, but they never. The one thing they never did was overpromise. So that was just the one thing that I see that Bored Apes, they just never overpromised. They pretty much just said nothing. You know what I mean? They
Very
didn't.
true. Very
It was
true.
just a profile picture. I mean, that's what it
But let
was.
me
It wasn't
share.
supposed to be anything else. So
That's such a fair point. If I can share behind the curtain of why we have promised so much, okay, there's a really a flat out reason for it. It wasn't something that we did on accident. It was a conscious decision to overshare. And yeah, there were many conversations where it's like, aren't you worried about over promising and under delivering? That could be the death knell for you, right? If you over promise and under deliver, you're done. But my reaction to that is this, okay? Before Midas, nobody knew who I was. I was giving sneak peeks of Midas pretty frequently. I was giving sneak peeks of the NoGen website and the game plan and the token. If people look back, I've deleted it now, but it was up for a while. So I telegraphed my moves from very early on. The reason I did that, I would argue that it worked. I would argue we are the number one or the number two NFT project building on Elrond today. I would also make the argument that Elrond is well on its way to becoming one of the top blockchains on Earth. So we're not doing things too terribly off key here, but by over promising, we're able to get this brand called NoGen, a hopeful Marvel and DC competitor. We've made our intentions very clear from day one where we want to go. And I don't know. I would like to think that all of that excitement and being really transparent with where we're wanting to go, how we're going to get there, it allows people to really be part of that Web3 journey, to really be part, right? Everyone talks about this Web3 thing. What would happen if we could go back in time and these tech giants were owned by people? What would happen if Disney or Marvel were owned by people? And this thing, it seems to be happening with NoGen. And I mean, that's where the excitement.
Well, they all started out being owned by people or bought out or or something. So Disney started out with one man's thought. That was it. He created a world and he made it happen. So that's the power. And I see you're trying to do the same thing with NoGen. And to be able to include everybody is hard, and to keep, and then once you get to a certain point, then like the new people are like, well, I can't come in, and that kind of thing. So it's like it's all
and they'll fud your project until they can get in, right?
Right.
And that's part of what we've been dealing with too. It's like this FUD is not coming from left field. It's some of it is trying to drive the price down a little bit because most people see that we are building very seriously. Now, people can judge the results in the current time. I don't think many would argue just how serious we are about the building process and really giving everything that we have to build something amazing on Elrond. Really bring like honor to the Elrond ecosystem.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I think a lot of it, the FUD either comes from like someone who, and it's just fear, uncertainty, and doubt. It's not like anything that bad. It's just something we
Most
all
of the time.
deal with. Everyone deals with it in everything
Mm-hmm.
in life. It's something we in every phase of something. Okay, even going to the grocery store, so a car comes too close. That's like FUD. It's like it's the same thing. It's like people are, it's like, but to deal with it, as a human being, and I at the same time, I live with myself, I live with my thoughts. I don't have a lot of people around me. So, FUD can spread in my brain pretty quickly, but at the same time, I made myself pretty illiquid, investing, but there's always a time that you can get out on profits depending on what you do. So it's like it's all about
let me put one thing into perspective for the Elrond NFT community. If the people over invested in Elrond NFTs, if you really believe that the Elrond blockchain would only have one NFT bull run in its entire life, and that it would reach an all-time high in its first ever bull run without a public NFT marketplace, and then it never reached past that all-time high again. I've got a beach property, in Iowa that I want to sell you. I mean, we're in the very beginning here. I mean, we just went through our very first bull run ever, and people are like, "What is going on with the market?" Nothing. I mean, we're all things considered.
Everything retraces. It's all gravity, I see, but it's all about like there's going to be teams that fall off, and NFTs that weren't made to go the distance, and that's what people have to understand, and so to differentiate yourself from other NFTs, getting on here, you're giving the information to these people and they love it. They're here. A lot of them, they're still here, and they want to hear it, and they're giving questions. Someone's wanting the alpha updates back again. I think they will return at some point, probably, huh? Right?
So these are all questions that, honestly, there's a lot of times, Derek, that I can jump onto a Twitter space or something that's not like super formal interview and just go back and forth with the community and just kind of like voice some frustrations or issues that I have and talk it out, but then there are always going to be a small group of people waiting. Like there's literally a small group of people that literally wait. If I make any mistake, then it will make the rounds. And so with alpha, look, there was one alpha, I just gave an honest opinion trying to help people. I was like, baby DGen 8. I'm like, I made this offhand comment. They're going to a 5 eagled floor easily. I made this comment in the alpha chat, and I think a lot of people rushed and bought it. To my credit now, it did like a 2 or 3x since then. So I'm in the clear. But something like that, where I really wanted to just give back to the community, it was weaponized. Same with the creative villain, it was weaponized. Same with the Hermes. I just found out today that the group that hates my guts has, they basically botted the Aerovec staking system, and they've been undercutting the floor nonstop since Act 2 has been sent out. This one account has like dozens of Act 2s and Act 1s. They're just looking at the market and undercutting the floor. Of course, they're going to do that. It's free.
People were talking about that this morning. Single digit, Yeah, I mean, and if I had the money, I would buy one because I don't have an Midas. I'm still, I kind of put my money into some ETH NFTs instead, because
Mm.
I'm like, I went into like gutter
Yeah,
cat game.
your new
You know,
dog
I,
PFP is really
no,
nice.
thanks. I
Yeah,
really like
I
it.
like it.
Yeah. And
That's a good one.
I kind of spread myself out a little bit just because of all of this, just searching for, different things that I wanted to invest.
AKA the Elrond ecosystem is frozen right now. It is a block of ice.
What do you, oh no. You
No,
mean,
no, no. I don't mean to ring the alarm bells. I'm just like it's sunny outside, and I'm saying it's sunny outside. The state of what I see with the NFTs, the liquidity, it seems to be very frozen.
yeah, I think that there's not a lot of eyes. Like they kind of just like glance right over Elrond when they're going down the line and looking at everything, and it's like
Yeah.
why, but I don't know. I think that maybe something will spark when they actually start doing um their when they actually start trying to bring people in.
Hmm.
I think they have a
I think
lot of
we
people
look.
sitting
I think
there.
we look crazy right now, Derek, because we keep telling everyone that Elrond is the best, and no one's listening to us. So we're kind of going a little bit crazy over on this side. So I don't know.
No, we had a Bored Ape uh, comment in the chat. So shout out to Pit Panther.
Hey, hey, I guess that's where to oddly enough to say that may be the battleground, right? Benjamin always says this is not a zero sum game. This is not a zero sum game, and I don't know. Is that gamesmanship? Is he trying to stay on good terms with everyone? Because right now it's very much a zero sum game. Very, very much a zero sum.
Well, I think and what I've been talking to other people and see, we need more development and tools, like financial tools being put in place by the people, not like something the team, like a get ready, set, go kind of thing, like more
Mhm,
like,
mhm,
hey, the community is building here, not just a marketplace for NFTs, not like this
mhm,
and that. I mean, I've been pondering this for like the last, month and a half, just kind of like looking at everything like,
mhm.
where's all this money going? It's just not going to
No, see,
back.
here's why you think that, Derek. You might think that there's a lot of money going to projects and then being sold on exchanges and leaving. But in the grand scheme of things, when you compare that much ego to the market manipulators, it's a drop in the bucket. This much volume is really not what's causing the sell pressure. Like even
Oh,
10,000 ego
right.
is like a
Right.
tremendous
No, I'm
amount.
just saying in general, you just see all the, well, I'm just saying you see all this money coming into the market, but
Mhm.
then it could be going to building awesome tools. And yes, they're just cashing out, and
Yeah,
then they're,
yeah.
letting their NFTs float. And that's like,
Mhm.
I built my little project and, it's
Mhm.
just kind of fun or whatever, but I want to get serious and,
Mhm.
maybe build a tool. And it's like, that's not being talked about. Like
Well, I
that,
don't know if you caught this, Derek.
like,
What
like,
Benjamin said a couple days, I think it was yesterday or the day before in his town hall. I don't know if you caught it. In their Elrond NFT marketplace, what they will offer the market are specialized tools that will make it easy for any creator to do all the fancy, sexy stuff, right? Like allowing your NFTs to be staked with
mm,
your own ESDT, with the customized APY. You can toggle all these settings in a layman's style. They are bringing this to market, so your pain points are heard.
well, I'm talking more about like, I'm not talking about NFTs. So like I feel like
Okay.
NFTs should be like the base of a financial tool. Okay? So like say you have a say you don't have money, right? And you're trying to build a tool. Like that should be your base. Like the holders should be like the beneficiaries. you know, the kind of thing. Like this ecosystem should be the ground up in certain, and not all NFTs are going to be like that, but there should be more, you know, like that, building tools and stuff that pay, you know, you build a tool good enough to pay your holders, you know, people will use. I think that's the biggest, like, ifs, ands, or buts. People don't want to build or spend the money because they're like, well, that could be lost because what if it doesn't work? You know, so we don't have that as much. And so I'm just seeing that. I'm like, I want to give this a try myself. So, you know, it's like when we get down to it, you know, that's what, without the financial tools like borrowing and lending and things like that, we are suffering without the liquidity. And I see that. So it's a big thing.
Yeah. I mean, the DeFi is certainly it was the one that we thought we were going to get some adoption. But there are other routes. Maybe I mean, truth is often stranger than fiction. Who knows? Maybe Elrond and all of their higher ups think that payments will be their golden road, their golden ticket to getting widespread distribution and adoption. And maybe, just maybe, it'll be gaming and NFTs, which I'm biased, so I think it's going to be that route. So whoever wins, I mean, we'll both be celebrating.
Well, I see both as going hand in hand. So, like, you know, lending and borrowing system, going with the gaming system because you can just go and borrow against yourself. You're not paying taxes on anything. And then you can, you know, go and do what you want to do. And then, you know, especially if you're an early investor and stuff like that, and you're catching these things, you know, and teaching people how to use systems like that. I think that, you know, there's definitely big growth that will happen on Elrond, especially we haven't seen, you know, a lot of that, like I said, tools being built. We see a little bit, like we see this little coin flip in casino games, like, and that's like those things you can just pull off, you know, of like GitHub or something, and you can just throw in, make yourself because
they're white label, apps, but hey, fake it till you make it.
Right, I guess, you know, but I'd like to see, like, okay, so they start there. Are they going to go further? You know, like, that's the thing I want to see, you know. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Thanks for joining us today, Josh. And I hope to see everything come together for you because we all will win, you know, with the right ingredients. Put into your NFT project. So I'll keep talking about it. I've been pretty open about my holdings and to the people that know me and stuff like that, and on this podcast. So thank you for joining us today, everyone, and we'll catch you next time for the next interview, and have a great day.
Thanks, Derek. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Have a great weekend.